Uh, Welcome. Steve again. Steve on PVCs, whatever. I'm not that hip, dude. I'm really not. I want to talk about, I can't speak. Forgive me, I can't talk. But I do want to talk about doctors. If you have PVCs and SVTs, sometimes you see a lot of doctors. And I've been really happy with one cardiologist, but it's so far away. And if you have PVC, SVT, and cardiac worries, you don't want to drive a long ways because there's a big gap in there with no medical service, right? And this is like a barren wasteland between where I'm at and where that cardio doc was. He was a great cardio doc. So I've had to find a new one in my area. it's not going well. I got a new GP, but then she moved. And then I got another new GP, and she's doing all right. I like her. I do tend, and I will say this right up front, I am more preferential to having a female doctor. I prefer it. So, new GP. I've got GERD and acid reflux or whatever, but I think that might be sort of the trigger for my PVCs and SVT, so I want to get this looked at and straightened out as best I can. So I went to a GI doc today. Waste of money. I can't lie, but it was just a waste of money. She didn't listen. Didn't listen to anything I say. Now, I'm not an idiot. None of us are idiots. But you have to learn to talk to somebody to hear what they're saying. It's one thing just to listen, but it's another one to hear, really hear. In the counseling world, I subscribe to the notions of Carl Rogers, and that's my kid again, who sort of brought in person-centered therapy, certain person-centered counseling, and what it is it's the client that really guides the sessions, that has the ability to help themselves. Thank you for changing the page. That's Carl Rogers, Wikipedia, I guess. So today when I went in, I tried to explain these things. She already had a preconceived notion of who I was. I'm a fat white guy. Oh, of course you got GERD. You're a fat white guy. Let's just throw PPIs. Here's a PPI, proton pump inhibitors. Let's throw this shit at you. I don't do well on meds. I do not do well on meds. I get a lot of side effects. And I explained this to her that I've tried several PPIs. Wouldn't listen. Well, just take this one again. You had the best luck on it. So my wife, I'm threw my hands up in the air and was like, as a counselor, I would never treat my client like that. I would never dismiss them like that. And I'm like, fuck this. You need to learn. And so my wife stepped in and schooled her a little bit and said, well, we've done this. Why should we do this? And again, it's just placating. They come in with a preconceived notion of who you are. In Rogers' world, Carl Rogers, it's the unconditional positive regard for the client. In my world, and when a client steps into my office, there's no judgment, right? There's no judgment. I'm not there to judge anybody. Your story is your story. You have to share it with me so I understand, but I don't judge you. I don't judge any client based on what they've done in the past, what they think, or who they believe they are. That's not my place. I am there to be as genuine of a person I can to assist them, to help them as best I can, right? But to do that, I have to have that unconditional positive regard, right? I have to see my client as a person, as a human being, right? So many times doctors come into a room, how you doing? Great. What's your problem? Oh, here's your pill. Bob's your uncle, and they're gone. I spend more time looking at the back of their head than I do their face. So I get frustrated with that because I'm tired of it. And I think doctors have a responsibility and a duty to sit and learn to hear. And often they don't. It's a mill. I got 5 minutes to be with you. I got to get to my next patient because if not, I'm not making enough money. Well, then the clinic's not making enough money, and nobody gets their fancy cards, and nobody's going to get the big house, and nobody's going to go be able to play golf. That's a stereotype. I shouldn't do that, but I've known a few doctors, and it's how it applies. So I'm frustrated with that shit. With my cardiologist, I had the trip to the ER. I thought it was a heart attack, right? So EKG's out the ass, you know, testing the blood for the markers and all that stuff, and I still haven't heard from my cardiologist, and that's been 2 weeks ago. Now I set up for a stress test, but my cardiologist didn't make contact with me, and I made contact with my electrophysiologist just to get his opinion. Now I'm his patient, right? I paid this guy money twice to prescribe me pills that almost kill me, and we'll send that question to your primary cardiologist because that's who you should talk to. Not, hey, well, he can look at it real quick and we'll see what he thinks. No, none of that. I am tired of the medical profession and their inability to work with human beings. I'm a human being. I have needs, wants, fears, desires, all these things, and you're there supposed to help me. I'm paying you, right? I'm the boss. But it's not that way. We just keep shuffling. And with PVCs, as soon as they find out PVCs and they see that you've had the cardio workups, they're like, oh, they don't even care anymore. The cardiologists don't even care anymore. I mean, I went in with some weird rhythms and stuff like that, and I was put on the Zeo patch, and everything came back fine. But prior to the Zeo patch, I had runs of SVT over 200, and after the Zeo patch. But my cardiologist didn't want to hear that. The electrophysiologist didn't want to listen to what I was telling him. He didn't want to hear it. Doctors don't want to hear it. Now, this isn't all doctors. There are some great doctors out there. But the ones that I'm encountering now are schmucks. I'm sorry. We pay for this stuff. We got worries. We need to have that reassurance. And if you're paid $1 million a year, I know you're busy. There's a lot of pressure. I did the schooling too. There's a lot of pressure, student loans, blah, blah, blah. How long does it take to sit there and look at a client and say, tell me what's going on, and actually hear it? To actually say, you know what? I hear what you're saying. How can I help you? You've had this, and this. What do you think needs to be done to make you feel better? Right? Or how can I explain things so you feel more confident in what we've done? One of the best conversations I ever had was with the cardiologist that is on the other side of the vast wasteland here, who simply said, you've had all these tests and you're not dead and you're not gonna die, but it's gonna suck, right? Sometimes, but you have to lose weight and get your anxiety and stress under control, right? And when I did those things, it got better. That's on me, the patient. But in this case, I've completely changed my diet. I have lost 23 pounds. I am trying to be a little more active, and do those things. But they're not hearing me. They're not hearing me say, I'm making progress. I need a little bit of help, a little bit of reassurance, and a little bit of, hey, we can do this together. It's never that though. It's never we can do this. Now my new GP says that, but the GI, the cardiologist, the electrophysiologist, it's just the way. So, doctors, you got to do better. You got to learn. Look up Carl Rogers. Take a class. Sit down and ask a counselor to explain to you what unconditional positive regard is, and congruency, and what it means to a human being. Right? Don't just be a doctor. Be a human being. Okay, anyway, that's enough or I'm going to get irate and start cussing like a sailor.